Welcome to the deep dive. I'm absolutely thrilled you're joining us today because honestly, this is one of those topics that isn't just changing rapidly. It's already undergone a seismic shift, and most of us are still kind of catching up. Have you ever really paused to think about how you search for information these days? For so long, search was this simple equation. You typed keywords into a little bar, hit enter, got a list of blue links back. That was it. But in that world, it's basically ancient history now. We're talking about a landscape where search isn't just about words anymore. It's about images, voice, AI, even gestures all coming together. Our mission for this deep dive is incredibly important. We're going to unpack how these new astonishing search capabilities actually work, what they mean for you, whether you're a content creator, a business owner, or just, intensely curious about how information moves in the modern world. And most crucially, what you need to know to stay ahead. Get ready for some genuinely surprising facts and plenty of aha moments, because this isn't some abstract future theory.
It's already shaping how people interact with information every single day, and it's changing everything.
It really is. What's truly fascinating here, and what I think many are still underestimating, is that the very foundation of how we've understood search is fundamentally shifting. This isn't just Google rolling out a new algorithm or a minor interface update. It's truly a paradigm shift.
A paradigm shift, wow.
Yeah, and while traditional SEO practices remain incredibly important for the basics, things like ensuring your content is crawlable, technically sound, indexable, they are increasingly, almost dangerously insufficient to truly thrive in this new era. We're moving beyond simple optimization. We're going to explore what comes after traditional SEO, focusing on the deeper, more complex implications of AI and these multifaceted, multimodal interactions. It's an exciting, albeit challenging, new frontier.
So let's start at the beginning then. What exactly is multimodal search? For our listener, if they're imagining just typing words, what's the fundamental difference? Think about how you actually search for things in your daily life. It's often more than just words, right? You might be out shopping, see a gorgeous piece of furniture and in a photo on Instagram, and instantly wonder, where can I buy that? And does it come in green? Or maybe you're in your kitchen, hands full, asking your voice assistant to find a recipe while simultaneously pointing your phone at an ingredient you can't identify.
Right.
Multimodal search is precisely that.
Yeah.
It's the use of various input types: text, images, video, audio, voice, even your current location, and yes, now even gestures like Google's innovative circle to search feature all used simultaneously. The goal: to get results that are infinitely more relevant, more contextual, and frankly more human. It's designed to mimic how the human mind naturally processes information by combining different senses and contexts. It's a remarkably human-centric approach, almost intuitive.
Precisely. And this shift isn't just a nice-to-have feature. It's deeply rooted in some profound technological advancements that have quietly been building for years. A key turning point, something many in the SEO and marketing world might have, overlooked at the time, was Google's introduction of its Multitask Unified Model, or MUM, back in 2021.
MUM, right. I remember that buzzword.
Before MUM, combining an image search with a text query, for example, was far less sophisticated. It was like trying to get two separate librarians to talk to each other about different aspects of the same question. MUM revolutionized Google's ability to interpret incredibly complex, multi-part queries across different formats, allowing for a much deeper, more nuanced understanding. Think of MUM as Google's advanced cognitive leap, enabling it to connect dots that were previously isolated.
Okay, so MUM was like the brain getting an upgrade to handle different kinds of information together.
You could say that. And the evolution of mobile devices has been a huge enabler here, too. Our smartphones are essentially sophisticated sensor arrays. Their touch screens, motion sensors, highly accurate voice recognition, and pervasive GPS have made multimodal search not just possible, but ubiquitous, meaning you can do it from any place in the world at any time.
I can definitely see how our phones are becoming these supersensory tools. So how much are people actually using these new multimodal capabilities? Is it still, niche, or is it becoming mainstream?
Oh, it's absolutely mainstream and accelerating rapidly. Consider Google Lens, for example. It now handles nearly 20 billion visual searches each month.
20 billion a month.
20 billion. That's an astonishing number, and it represents a 50% increase from 2022 alone. What's particularly compelling is the demographic breakdown. There's a prominently surging adoption among younger users, specifically 18 to 24-year-olds. For this demographic, Google Lens queries are one of the fastest growing types of search. This isn't just taking a photo and searching, it's integrating visual input seamlessly into daily information seeking.
And it's getting even more advanced, isn't it? It's not just taking a picture anymore. You can combine it with text, right? Like that example I gave.
Absolutely, that's where things get really powerful. Think about multi-search with Google Lens, which lets you combine an image with a keyword. You can snap a picture of a unique floral print dress you love, and then add the word green to find that specific style in a different color.
Ah, okay. So it understands the picture and the word together.
Exactly. Or consider multi-search near me, which allows for hyper-localized results based on a visual or multimodal input, like finding a restaurant that serves a dish you've seen in a photo within walking distance. This technology is expanding rapidly, now supporting more than 70 languages globally, truly demonstrating its widespread impact.
Right.
And if we connect this to the bigger picture, it's about anticipation. Multimodal search helps platforms understand not just what you're explicitly asking for, but what you'll need next. It's anticipating follow-up questions, related items, or even unspoken intents based on the rich context provided.
So it's getting smarter, trying to figure out the why behind the search.
Precisely. This means that discovery is no longer confined to Google's traditional search bar or a single website. It's happening across ecosystems, on visual platforms like Pinterest, on social video hubs like TikTok, on e-commerce giants like Amazon.
On like Amazon's Rufus thing.
Exactly. Their generative shopping assistant, it's on Instagram, and even through voice assistants like Alexa. The search journey is no longer linear. It's layered, visual, profoundly context-aware, and happening wherever the user is engaging with information.
Okay, here's where it gets really interesting and potentially a little unsettling for those of us who've lived and breathed traditional SEO for years. Google's AI mode, their generative search experience, is changing the game entirely. Forget the old school blue links. This is a whole new beast that operates on entirely different principles. Experts like Mike King, who's been really digging into this, argue quite strongly that it's not just SEO anymore, and that the current skill set and technology within the SEO community are simply not prepared for where things are headed. So unpack this for us. Why is it not just SEO? What's fundamentally different about AI mode and how it processes information compared to what we're used to?
That's the absolute crux of the issue. The idea that AI mode is just SEO is, frankly, a dangerously misinformed perspective. It suggests a superficial understanding of what generative AI actually does. Traditional SEO, at its heart, relies on the assumption that your content goes into the search engine in one form, say an article on your website, and comes out the same way as a clickable blue link. It's deterministic. If you rank for a keyword, you hope you get a click.
Right, input equals output, more or less.
Exactly. But in generative AI, your content is actively manipulated, or rather synthesized, recombined, and transformed by the AI. Its appearance in a generative response is probabilistic, not deterministic. You don't have the same level of control over how your content will ultimately be presented, even if you follow all the traditional SEO best practices, and your content does inform the AI's response.
Probabilistic, so it's based on chance or likelihood rather than a definite outcome.
Precisely. And a major disconnect, a critical problem for our current toolbox, is that most traditional SEO tools are still based on what we call sparse retrieval models.
Oh.
Think of these like old school librarians with a massive card catalog. They'd look for exact keywords or phrases using techniques like TF-IDF or BM25, which essentially count how often a word appears and how important it is. It's a great system for finding exact matches.
Okay, word counting and matching. Got it.
But AI mode has evolved far beyond that. It leverages dense retrieval models, which are completely different. Imagine this new librarian isn't just looking at words. They understand the meaning and context of every sentence, even if the exact words aren't there. It does this by turning information into vector embeddings.
Wait, vector embeddings. That sounds pretty techy. Can you break that down for us, like in simple terms?
Absolutely. Think of vector embeddings as incredibly sophisticated numerical representations of meaning, almost like coordinates on a map, but a map of concepts. Every piece of information, a word, a sentence, a paragraph, a whole document, is converted into a string of numbers that exists in a multidimensional digital space.
Multidimensional space. Okay, still a bit abstract, but I'm following.
Concepts that are semantically similar, meaning they have similar meanings, even if worded completely differently, end up close together in this space. So car, automobile, and vehicle might be close. But electric vehicle and sustainable transport would also be grouped, not just because of shared words, but because of their shared underlying meaning.
Okay, so it understands the relationship between concepts, not just the words themselves.
Exactly. And our current SEO tools, designed for lexical matching words, simply can't operate effectively in this vector space. We don't know how often our content is cited by the AI, its prominence within a synthesized response, or the specific, often hidden intent that triggered its use. We currently lack the tools to parse content at the passage level into these embeddings, or to analyze clusters of candidate documents in this new vector space. It's like trying to play chess when your opponent is playing 3D chess in a different dimension.
So it's a completely different underlying mechanism for finding and understanding information. It's not just about matching words, but matching meaning. That's a huge game changer. What else makes AI mode so fundamentally different?
Precisely. It's a shift from lexical to semantic. And AI mode operates with a layered, incredibly intelligent contextual architecture. First, unlike traditional search, which often treats each query in isolation, AI mode maintains a persistent user context. It builds a kind of digital memory of you.
A memory of me.
Yeah. It tracks your past queries, your general interests, your location, the devices you use, and even nuanced behavioral signals. And every single one of these interactions is converted into a vector embedding, creating a dynamic, evolving, vectorized version of you. This stateful context allows Google to reason about your intent over time, not just at a single moment. It's always building a picture of who you are and what you might be looking for next.
Okay, that makes sense. Building context over time.
Then when you enter a new query, AI mode initiates what's called query fanout. This is a fundamental, almost stealthy technique. Your single query, the one you typed into the search bar, is quietly reformulated into dozens or even hundreds of related, implied, and recent queries that run in parallel behind the scenes.
Hold on. One search can secretly become hundreds of searches. That's mind-blowing. Can you give us a concrete example of how that looks in practice? I mean, my brain struggles with one complex query, let alone hundreds.
Absolutely. It's a core part of how it works. Let's imagine you type a base query like best electric SUV. Traditionally, Google would look for pages that explicitly mention best electric SUV. But with query fanout, AI mode doesn't just look for that exact phrase. It will instantly generate an array of synthetic related queries. For example, it might generate related queries, EVs with longest range, electric SUVs with third row seating, affordable family EVs.
Okay, things closely related.
Then implicit queries. What electric SUV has the best cargo space? Electric SUV towing capacity. Things you didn't explicitly ask but might imply.
Right, reading between the lines.
Comparative queries. Rivian R1S versus Tesla Model X, Hyundai Ioniq 5 versus Kia EV6. Directly comparing options. Recent queries. If your previous searches were about charging infrastructure or EV tax credits, it might generate electric SUV with fastest charging.
Using my history, got it.
Personalized queries. If your user embedding suggests you frequently research luxury vehicles, it might generate luxury electric SUVs for executive travel, reformulation queries, top-rated battery electric crossovers, electric vehicles for outdoor adventures, just different ways of phrasing the core need, and entity-expanded queries, Ford Mustang Mach-E features, Chevy Blazer EV range, focusing on specific models mentioned or related.
Wow, that's a lot happening under the hood for one simple search.
It is. And these myriad synthetic queries are then used to pull information from Google's vast index. The crucial implication here is that merely ranking for your original query, best electric SUV, no longer guarantees visibility. Because AI mode selects content based on its alignment with any of these hidden fanout queries, this makes ranking a complex matrixed event rather than a linear one. You're no longer just competing on one battlefield, you're competing across hundreds simultaneously, many of which you can't even see.
So it's not a direct line to visibility anymore. It's like Google's playing this high-stakes, multi-dimensional game of semantic chess behind the scenes, and we, as content creators, are left trying to guess its next 100 moves. That's a massive shift. What about this idea of reasoning chains? How does that factor into this complex internal process?
Exactly. And it gets even more intricate with reasoning chains. Large language models, or LLMs, don't just find answers, they essentially argue with themselves. Internally, or perhaps more accurately, they build a logical path. They construct structured sequences of intermediate inferences to logically connect your query to a synthesized response. Imagine like a step-by-step internal monologue or a logical proof.
Okay, so it's thinking step by step.
Precisely. For instance, if you're searching for best SUV for a long road trip with a large family, Google's internal reasoning chain might go something like this. 1. Okay, user wants an SUV. 2. The user's primary intent is long road trip, so I need to prioritize range and comfort features. 3. The user specified a large family, so I need to prioritize vehicles with third-row seating or high passenger capacity. 4. Now, I need to synthesize information about SUVs that meet all these criteria, maybe pulling in safety ratings and fuel efficiency data.
That makes sense. It's breaking the problem down.
Right, and your content needs to be meticulously designed to remain relevant throughout each of these reasoning steps, not just for a single keyword match at the beginning or end. This means content is no longer just generally relevant. It must be granularly useful and retrievable by each specific step in Google's internal logic. If your content only provides a general overview and lacks specific details on, say, third-row seating or long-distance comfort, it might fall out of the reasoning chain at step 3, even if it initially ranked for best SUV.
That sounds like a massive fundamental shift in how we think about content creation. It's almost like we're writing for an AI's internal dialogue, not just human readability.
It absolutely is. We need to anticipate those steps. And another foundational innovation, which ties back to that vectorized U we discussed, is personalization through user embeddings. Every single interaction you have with Google, your clicks, your queries, your location, your device type, even the content of your Gmail threads, if you've opted into personalization, is constantly being boiled down into a vectorized version of you. This latent identity, this unique numerical fingerprint of your interests and behaviors, subtly but profoundly influences everything. It impacts how your query is interpreted, which synthetic queries are generated during fan-out, which passages of content are retrieved, and even how the final response is synthesized.
That's pretty powerful and a little bit unsettling, frankly. What's the practical implication of that for someone trying to rank or get their content seen?
The profound implication is that two users asking the same query may see different citations or receive different answers. Your results are truly personalized.
Really? So what I see for best electric SUV could be totally different from what you see.
Absolutely. Which renders traditional logged-out rank tracking, where you check how your page ranks for a keyword from a clean browser, meaningless for AI mode. Because responses can be truly one-to-one, tailored to that specific user's latent identity. What you see as a result might be completely different from what your target customer sees.
That blows up traditional rank tracking then.
Pretty much, for this context. Furthermore, AI mode often uses passage-level retrieval instead of traditional page-level indexing. Instead of showing you an entire web page, it literally selects individual sentences or chunks that semantically complete a sub-step in its internal logic, not necessarily entire pages. So your content must be semantically complete in isolation at the passage level. Each key idea needs to stand on its own as concise, useful piece of information, ready to be pulled out and recombined by the AI.
Wow. So it's not just about what's on your page, but how those specific pieces of information align with Google's internal thought process and how it understands the user. It's like Google isn't just a librarian pointing you to a book. It's a super intelligent research assistant who reads all the books, synthesizes the answer, and then might or might not tell you where it got the information. And if it synthesizes the answer for you, you might not even click through to the original source, right? That sounds like a big problem for website traffic.
Precisely. This leads directly to the concept of zero-click behavior, which is causing a lot of consternation, understandably, among publishers and marketers. In AI mode, being cited, meaning your content informs the AI's synthesized response, even if no direct link is shown or clicked, matters more in some ways than being clicked from Google's perspective. Google's overarching goal here is to do the Googling for you, to provide a direct answer within the search results themselves. They are solving what they call Delphic costs by drastically reducing the user's cognitive load.
Delphic costs. What exactly does Google mean by that? Sounds a bit mystical.
Yeah, it does sound a bit grand. Think of Delphic costs as the mental burden or the hidden effort a user expends trying to piece together fragmented information. Cross-referencing multiple sources, clicking through various links, making multiple follow-up searches just to get a complete answer to their original query. It's the friction in the search process.
Okay, so all the work I used to do clicking around.
Exactly. By synthesizing the information directly into a coherent answer, AI mode aims to reduce that cognitive load, making the search experience frictionless, direct, and immediate. From Google's perspective, they view direct traffic to your site as a necessary evil rather than a primary goal. They want to fulfill information needs directly.
A necessary evil. Ouch.
Well, perhaps that's a strong way to put it, but their priority is the user experience within their platform. So while your content might be incredibly valuable, indispensable even to the AI's understanding and synthesis, you might not see the direct traffic you once did. This highlights a fundamental change in Google's alignment. Their goal is to provide the answer, not necessarily to drive a click. For publishers, this impacts traditional performance metrics and revenue models significantly.
That's incredibly impactful and honestly a bit scary for many businesses whose livelihood depends on clicks and traffic. This raises an important question. If the old rules are breaking, if our traffic models are under threat, what on earth do we do? We can't just throw our hands up and give up on appearing in search results. There has to be a new way, right?
Yeah, exactly. And there's a new way emerging. We transition from traditional SEO to what some are calling relevance engineering, or R19G for short. It's a completely new discipline. It's about engineering relevance to penetrate systems of reasoning across an array of queries. This means optimizing your content not just for a handful of keywords, but to be semantically relevant across dozens of hidden queries and passage competitive within a custom corpus of information that Google is drawing from.
Engineering relevance.
Okay, the ranking becomes probabilistic, not deterministic. It's a strategic move beyond just keywords and basic optimization. It's about becoming deeply embedded in the AI's cognitive process.
Okay, relevance engineering. That sounds like a whole new job title.
Yeah.
So how do we actually do this? What does content need to look like now to stand a chance in this AI-driven world? What are the practical steps?
This is where we get prescriptive. There are 4 strategic pillars for content in AI mode that you absolutely must focus on.
Okay, let's hear them.
The first pillar is that your content needs to fit the reasoning target. Remember those reasoning chains we talked about? Your content must be designed to satisfy each step in that chain. This means it should be semantically complete in isolation, meaning if an LLM retrieves a single passage, that chunk needs to make perfect sense on its own without requiring the user to read the rest of the article.
Like a self-contained nugget of information.
Yeah, exactly. It should explicitly articulate comparisons or trade-offs. For example, instead of just saying the Tesla Model Y is great, you'd say the Tesla Model Y offers superior range compared to the Ford Mustang Mach-E, making it ideal for long commutes, but the Mach-E boasts a more engaging driving experience for enthusiasts. This level of detail ensures it can be effectively evaluated by reasoning models during pairwise ranking or summarization. It also needs to be readable without redundancy, avoiding fluff that an AI would simply disregard.
So concise, highly informative, and self-contained snippets within the larger content, designed to provide a specific piece of information for the AI's internal logic. That's a significant shift from just writing for a human to read from start to finish.
Precisely. The second pillar is to be fan-out compatible. To align with those dozens or hundreds of subqueries generated during query expansion, those hidden searches Google is doing, your content must include clearly named entities that map precisely to Google's knowledge graph. Specific brand names, product models, category names properly identified significantly improve visibility across those expanded queries.
Use the right names, basically.
Yes, and be specific. It also needs to reflect common user intents, such as evaluation, comparison, or constraint-based exploration. For instance, if you're writing about an electric vehicle, you might proactively include phrasing like, if you're shopping for a reliable EV under $50 with high safety scores, or consider the XYZ EV if you prioritize fast charging and a spacious interior. This type of context helps Google understand exactly how your content might serve different implicit or comparative queries that it generates. You're essentially pre-answering the hundreds of ways a user might ask a question, even if they only type one.
That's incredibly proactive. It's like you're not just answering the question asked, but anticipating the next 10 questions the AI might internally generate. And the third pillar.
The third is to be citation-worthy. In a world where your content might be pulled into an AI overview rather than clicked, its trustworthiness and verifiability become paramount. Your content needs to present factual, attributable, and verifiable information. This includes rigorously using quantitative data, citing named sources, and making semantically clear statements that LLMs can extract with high confidence.
Facts, figures, sources.
Exactly. Think about including details like, the 2024 Ioniq 5 has an EPA estimated range of 303 miles and supports 350 kilowatt DC fast charging, according to data from the U.S. Department of Energy updated March 2024. This specific, verifiable data makes your content highly useful and trustworthy for AI synthesis, increasing the likelihood of it being cited. It's about building a reputation for factual accuracy that the AI can confidently leverage.
So clear, undeniable facts backed by reputable sources are king. And finally, the structure of the content itself, how it's physically laid out on the page.
That's the fourth pillar. Be composition friendly. Your content needs to be structured in highly standable modular formats. Think lists, bullet points, clear, distinct headings, and concise paragraphs. Use answer-first phrasing whenever possible, and absolutely include elements like FAQs and TLDRs, too long, didn't read summaries, along with robust semantic markup like schema.org.
Make it easy for the machine to grab pieces.
Precisely. This modularity makes the content incredibly easy for the AI to parse, understand, extract, and recombine when it synthesizes a response. It's like designing your content as Lego blocks, each one perfectly formed and ready to snap into an AI-generated answer. It truly sounds like we need to think about content not just for human eyes and engagement, but fundamentally for the machine's brain, too. We need to make it effortless for the AI to parse, understand, and recombine.
That's a profound shift in mindset. And it raises another intriguing point, because some thought leaders, like James Cadwallader, are taking this even further. He believes that SEO will become an antiquated function. What's his argument here, and how does this idea of agent experience or AX come into play? Is SEO truly dying?
Cadwallader's argument, which is definitely gaining considerable traction, is that SEO, as we've known it, focusing solely on ranking pages for clicks, will indeed become antiquated. He posits that the fundamental paradigm of the web is shifting from a two-sided marketplace where a user directly interacts with your website to an agentic web.
Agentic web, meaning AI agents are the intermediaries.
Exactly. In this model, users may not see your website at all. Instead, highly sophisticated AI agents will tailor information based on their understanding of the user's intent and reasoning against a vast corpus of content, including yours. This implies that these AI bots become a primary consumer of our content, meaning we effectively need to market to bots first and foremost.
Market to bots. Wow. That feels weirdly circular given how we used to try not to do that.
Yeah. It is a profound, almost ironic shift. But the idea is that if the agent understands and trusts your content, it will represent it accurately to the user. Now, the bots are the primary audience for the raw information.
So our content is literally being read by a machine that then interprets it, synthesizes it, and presents it to the user, who may never even see our original site.
Right.
That's not just a huge change, it fundamentally alters the relationship between content creator and consumer.
It does. And this ties directly into why a multimodal content strategy isn't just a suggestion, it's an absolute necessity. AI mode doesn't just synthesize from text, it synthesizes experiences by pulling from a complete range of formats: text, audio, video, images, dynamic visualizations, and even structured data. Relying solely on text-based content is not just limiting, it dramatically increases your risk of being completely left out of AI-generated answers.
So if I only have blog posts, I'm missing out.
Potentially, yes. Google's AI pipeline is incredibly sophisticated. It can transcribe videos, extract specific claims from podcasts, interpret complex diagrams, read and understand infographics, and then remix all of this into new outputs like concise lists, comprehensive summaries, or interactive visual presentations.
Okay, so it can pull info from anywhere.
Pretty much any format it can process. Imagine this. A key data point you've mentioned in a podcast might be extracted and used in a text summary. A product video you've created could supply a specific quote about a feature. An infographic on your site could become a generated answer in a visually distinct format. The format truly matters as much as the content itself. If a visual explanation or a spoken demonstration is considered more useful or efficient than a written one for a particular query, AI mode may prioritize those formats, even synthesizing new visuals or audio clips from your existing content. This raises an important question for you, the listener. Are you producing comprehensive content ecosystems, or are you still just creating isolated content pages? Visibility now depends on being present in all the places the system might look, across every format it can process. It's about building comprehensive, interconnected content assets, not just isolated web pages.
That's a powerful distinction, content ecosystems versus content pages. It really drives home the idea of diversifying your information assets. But if AI mode is so personalized, if content is being used in these new, often unseen ways, and if clicks are no longer the primary outcome, how on earth do we measure its effectiveness? It sounds like traditional analytics might not cut it anymore. We're used to tracking clicks and impressions to prove ROI, but if the AI is doing the Googling for you, that precious data might just disappear.
You've hit on one of the single biggest, most urgent challenges for SEOs and digital marketers right now. The data problem is immense. We know from various reports and anecdotal evidence that even Google's own engineers seem surprised to hear how universal the click losses have been for publishers due to AI overviews.
Even they were surprised.
Apparently so, at the scale of it. While Google has indicated that advertisers will eventually get query-level data for AI overviews, which is a good start, SEOs currently don't have direct visibility into how their content is being used or the air cover needed to prove the value of their work to enterprises. It's a black box. To compound the problem, there's even a known bug where traffic coming from AI mode often shows up as direct traffic in analytics due to a Norfer tag, making attribution incredibly difficult.
So the traffic might be there, but we can't even tell where it came from.
Often, yes. This environment demands entirely new software requirements for the SEO and content intelligence space. We need tools that understand and can measure performance within this probabilistic AI-driven landscape.
So we're essentially flying blind with our current dashboards. What exactly do we need from our software providers to navigate this new AI environment effectively? What are the critical new tools or features that are missing?
This is where the rubber truly meets the road. Our existing tools are largely anchored in the old paradigm. We need to push our software providers to rapidly catch up to the technology Google is actually using.
Okay, what's top of the list?
First, and perhaps most urgently, we need AI-specific reporting in Google Search Console. The current GSC provides data on clicks and impressions for traditional blue links. That's no longer enough. We need clear visibility into how often our content is being cited, its prominence within generative AI responses, and its frequency of appearance across these new generative surfaces. Imagine heat maps showing where your content is being used within an AI overview, or passage-level usage data that tells you exactly which sentences or paragraphs are informing Google's AI. Without this, you cannot account for the full value of your content.
That makes perfect sense. Without that data directly from Google, it's just a guess. What else is critical for understanding performance?
Next, we absolutely need logged-in rank tracking based on behavioral personas. Remember how AI mode's personalization creates a vectorized U? That means a static, logged-out position 1 ranking is functionally obsolete because every user sees something different.
Because my results aren't your results.
Exactly. We need rank modeling that incorporates intent class, different user archetypes or personas, and classical organic position across all those fan-out queries. This would let you simulate what a specific type of user, say a first-time homebuyer or an experienced investor, might see. The current logged-out rank tracking is meaningless for AI mode because responses can be 1.1.
So simulating what a real engaged user sees based on their unique history, rather than a generic, anonymized search, that's a huge leap. What about understanding our content itself through the AI's lens?
For that, we critically need vector embeddings for the web. Google's entire retrieval model is now based on vector similarity. If you don't understand how your content sits in vector space, at the site level, author level, page level, and crucially the passage level, you don't understand how it will actually be retrieved or cited by the AI.
We need to see that concept map.
Precisely. This data is far more vital than the link graph at this point because it directly reflects semantic relevance. Our current SEO tools are anchored in lexical scoring. We need tools that can decompose content into atomic assertions and score their retrievability across those fan-out queries. Imagine being able to see a visualization of how semantically close your content is to different user queries or competitor content in that vector space.
That's a fundamental shift in how content is evaluated, from keywords to meaning in a numerical space. What about content creation itself? How do we build content that's designed for this new world?
For content creation, we need matrixed semantic content editors. Current tools typically optimize content against a single keyword target, using sparse retrieval, like keyword density. But for AI mode, you're competing across a complex matrix of hundreds of synthetic queries and multiple reasoning steps simultaneously. We need user interfaces that allow us to analyze and engineer content across query clusters simultaneously, with dense retrieval in mind.
So optimizing for a whole group of related ideas at once.
Exactly. These tools would surface passage-level matches and visualize ranking overlap across that entire matrix of queries. It would allow you to see where your content is strong, where it has gaps, and how it performs across a range of related inquiries, not just one keyword.
It sounds like a much more holistic, almost scientific approach to content optimization, moving from single-point targeting to multi-point engineering. What about understanding user behavior in this new zero-click world?
For that, we need query journeys. Search is no longer a one-shot decision. It's a session-driven sequence of related questions, many generated by the system itself through personalization and reasoning chains. We need tools that can map and understand the ordered sequences of user queries from clickstream data, allowing us to engineer influence across an entire user's decision journey.
Seeing the whole path they take, not just the first step.
Exactly. Additionally, personalized retrieval simulations are crucial. As we discussed with user embeddings, relevance is no longer universal. Tools must simulate how our content performs against different behavioral personas, not just generic users, to avoid overfitting to a phantom average user. We need to test our content against different versions of our target audience.
And drilling down further into the queries themselves, anticipating the AI's thought process.
Yes. We need query classification that aligns with Google's internal query classifications like short fact or reason, and nuanced user intent types beyond the basic navigational, informational, transactional taxonomy. This helps us match content to the specific answer formats and model selections AI mode triggers. Also, query expansion tools are vital. Simulating query fan-out is essential for effective content planning and performance modeling. Tools like Qforia, which my team developed, can generate these related, implicit, comparative, and recent subqueries, giving you unprecedented insight into the invisible search space Google actually explores.
Like getting a peek behind Google's curtain at those hidden searches.
That's the idea. So we need tools that help us truly anticipate the machine's complex internal thought process, not just its public output.
And what about understanding clicks in a post-click world, when they might not even be happening?
Clickstream data integration becomes absolutely essential. Since AI overviews and AI mode don't always drive direct clicks or provide the detailed GSC data we're used to, Clickstream data offers a crucial proxy for user behavior. It can show us what users see, choose, and bypass on the results page. It helps us understand traffic flows and post-click behavior in zero-click environments, even if the direct click to your site isn't happening.
Using third-party data to fill the gaps.
As a proxy, yes. And finally, reasoning chain simulation. Visibility in AI mode depends on your content supporting each individual step in a machine's complex reasoning chain. Tools need to let us simulate this process so we can test not just does my content rank for X keyword, but does my content help the model think through this problem? And crucially, where does my content fall out of the reasoning chain? If your content is only useful for step 1 or 2 of a 5-step reasoning process, it might be ignored for the final synthesis.
Testing if your content makes it through the whole thought process. And what about the concept of links, which has been the bedrock of SEO for decades? Do they still matter at all?
They do, but their role and how we measure them needs to evolve. Even link graphs need to evolve into relevance-based link graphs. Beyond traditional PageRank, which largely measures authority and quantity, we need systems that score links by semantic alignment, retrievability, co-citation behavior, and inferred index position, leveraging embeddings and clickstream data. It's not just about how many links you have or how authoritative the linking site is. It's about whether those links are truly semantically related and reinforce your content's meaning in the AI's understanding.
So context and meaning matter for links too now.
Absolutely. The point is we need to push our software providers to modernize. Without these capabilities, you're essentially operating blind in this new probabilistic environment, unable to accurately measure, optimize, or even understand your performance.
So what does this all mean for you, whether you're a marketer grappling with new strategies, a business owner trying to maintain visibility, or just someone inherently curious about the future of information? It means the goal isn't just about showing up anymore. It's about showing up in the right format at the right time in the right context, and often it's about having your content understood and reused by an AI.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, AI mode represents nothing less than a structural transformation in how information is accessed and consumed. It demands a fundamental shift from viewing search as merely a transaction, a user clicking a link, to viewing it as participation in AI cognition. This means that organic search, as a channel, should be reframed. It's no longer primarily a direct performance channel for driving clicks. It becomes an AI visibility and trust channel. Your primary goal here is to establish your brand as a trusted, authoritative source that the AI confidently draws upon.
An AI visibility and trust channel, that's a whole new way to frame it.
It is. And this reframing necessitates entirely new key performance indicators. Instead of just tracking clicks, you'll be looking at your share of voice within AI surfaces, the sentiment and prominence of your citations in generative responses, and a much more sophisticated attribution influence modeling that goes beyond deterministic last-click models. We're talking about being encoded into the AI model's understanding of an entire information domain, becoming part of its foundational knowledge.
That's a truly significant reframing for how businesses measure success in search. It's not about immediate traffic, it's about being fundamentally understood and recognized as a source of truth by the AI. So how do organizations even begin to build this capability? How do they pivot their entire content and marketing strategy?
It requires building relevance as an organizational capability, which is far more than just an SEO team working in a silo. This involves developing a robust semantic architecture for all your knowledge assets. This means structuring your content, your data, your internal documents in a way that is machine readable, easily recombinable by AI, and contextually persistent. It's about building an internal knowledge graph that the AI can understand.
Organizing your own house so the AI can read it.
Essentially, yes. You also need sophisticated content portfolio governance. Think of your content assets not as individual articles, but like financial instruments, a diversified portfolio that is performance monitored, constantly optimized and pruned for relevance decay, meaning old, outdated content might actually harm your AI visibility.
Treating content like an investment portfolio. Interesting.
And critically, a model-aware editorial strategy. This means designing content not just for human users, but explicitly for agents, optimizing for LLM interpretation, ensuring high citation potential, and maximizing embedding distance from competitors to stand out semantically.
So it's about being deeply embedded in the AI's understanding of a topic, almost like becoming part of its knowledge base, rather than just hoping it sends traffic to your site. This sounds like it integrates a lot of different functions.
Exactly. This requires integrating functions that historically operated in silos. SEO, natural language processing, advanced data science, user experience, UX, and core content strategy. These all need to merge into an integrated relevance engineering function within your organization. This unit becomes the vital connective tissue between your brand, your product, and your AI visibility. It's a cross-functional powerhouse.
That makes perfect sense. A whole new team structure, potentially.
Right.
So how does an organization actually operationalize this intelligence in a world where clicks are no longer the primary signal and traffic data is so obscured?
That's where operationalizing intelligence in a post-click world comes in. Organizations need to stand up simulation infrastructure, like internal LLM evaluation pipelines, to rigorously simulate brand visibility in AI responses. This allows them to train and refine relevance metrics internally without relying on external, often unavailable, Google data.
Building your own testing grounds.
Right. They also need citation intelligence platforms to track when, how, and why their brand assets are cited in AI systems, even in those frustrating zero-click environments. It's about understanding your influence on AI, even if it's not directly driving traffic. Finally, robust content intelligence infrastructure is needed to unify passage-level embeddings, knowledge graph coverage, and content performance across both classic lexical retrieval and generative AI retrieval systems. This means executives need to be open to new types of dashboards and KPIs that go beyond reflections of past user behavior. Instead, these new insights will surface where the organization truly exists in the AI model's latent space, where it is understood, where it is trusted, and crucially, where it is reused by AI agents on behalf of users.
Ultimately, this is the emergence of a new, essential corporate function, relevance strategy. It's a profound shift from simply optimizing for traffic to architecting your brand's fundamental presence within the AI's very cognition. It's about becoming part of the AI's internal truth. Okay, let's unpack this. What an incredible journey we've taken today through the future of search, which is clearly no longer the future. It's already here, demanding our attention and adaptation. We've seen how multimodal search is fundamentally reshaping discovery, moving far beyond simple keywords to embrace images, voice, and AI-driven insights, mirroring the complexity of human thought. It's truly a human-centric approach, making information retrieval more intuitive than ever before. And we've delved deep into Google's revolutionary AI mode, understanding its layered, intelligent architecture, from the silent power of query fan-out and the intricate logic of reasoning chains to the personalized understanding of user embeddings and the critical shift of passage-level retrieval. It's a complete reimagining of how information is found and used.
Indeed. We've established that traditional SEO, while still foundational for technical hygiene, is rapidly evolving into relevance engineering. This means optimizing your content to fit the AI's specific reasoning targets, making it fan-out compatible, ensuring it's citation-worthy with verifiable facts, and structuring it to be composition-friendly for AI synthesis. The focus is now unmistakably on engineering relevance for machine cognition, with AI agents effectively becoming a primary consumer of your content. Relying solely on text is no longer enough. AI systems synthesize from a multitude of formats, meaning your content strategy must embrace comprehensive multimodal ecosystems.
And the challenges are undeniably real, especially with the current, frustratingly limited data visibility from Google. But we've also laid out the clear demands for new SEO software, from AI-specific GSE reporting and personalized logged-in rank tracking to vector embedding tools, query expansion, and reasoning chain simulations. These tools show a clear, albeit demanding, path forward for those ready to adapt. It's about being prepared for a world where your meticulously crafted content might be consumed by a machine, synthesized, and presented to a human user, potentially without them ever directly visiting your site.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, the question is no longer merely how do we rank high on a list, but profoundly, how are we represented and understood in AI cognition? Those who embrace this monumental shift, those who reclassify organic search as an AI visibility and trust channel, those who build relevance as a core organizational capability, and those who relentlessly operationalize intelligence in this new post-click world will be the ones who not only survive but truly thrive. This raises an important question for you, our dedicated listener. How will you adapt your approach to connect with audiences, to build your brand's relevance, and to succeed in this increasingly multimodal and AI-driven world? The future isn't coming, it's here, and it demands our full engagement.
What an incredible deep dive. Thank you so much for joining us on this essential exploration. Stay curious, stay informed, and keep digging into these fascinating new frontiers. We'll catch you on the next deep dive.